Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with this video. I'm going to be talking about some of the best San Martin watches you can get, or at least some of the most interesting ones anyway. Some of my favourites have actually been discontinued that I've already got, so I'm not going to be including them for obvious reasons. So some of these are currently available in the Choice Day sale, which is the one just before the 11/11 sale, but I imagine the prices with these might vary between the two different sales. Some might be in one, some might not be in the other. So if you are interested in any of these, make sure you add them to your cart so you can get notified when you get the best prices available. And obviously just keep an eye on them as well. With some of these I've previously reviewed them, so if I've got reviews of them, I'll leave a link to them down in the description, as well as the links to the watches. With others, the ones that I've found interesting but never actually got in, and I've actually got some others that I've got in for review, but I haven't quite got around to doing the review just yet. Apologies for my voice, by the way, I'm full of cold at the moment. But anyway, let's get down into this. So first up, one of my favourites that I have actually already reviewed. So again, link will be down in the description till the full review of this. So the one I have is this one here, but this one's actually sold out unfortunately, but they do have most of the other colours available still. And they've got some pretty nice ones. This one's probably my next favourite, or maybe that one. And you can get it on a strap or a bracelet. But I definitely recommend going for the bracelet, because it is a really nice one, and you can pick up a cheap strap later on. It's always nice to have a bracelet that fits the watch. And I think you can actually buy these bracelets, these straps, separately as well, if you do want the specific ones from San Martin. So with this, we've got the VK64 movement, 100 meter water resistance. Yeah, so here's the specs. And it is just a really nicely finished watch, as you'd expect from San Martin. Got really good lume as well, with that BGW9X1. And you can see some of the details with the different colours. And we do actually have that on the fly adjustable clasp as well. But moving on to the next one. You've probably seen this one before. It's a really popular one. It's currently on a really good price as well. The white one's sold out, but most of the others are available still. And it's just a really nice, interesting dial, I think. So I'm going to scroll down and show you that. And you can see a closer look at the dials there. That nice sand style texture. And again, good lume as well, despite small indices and hands. And it wears really nicely too. And again, we've got that on the fly adjustable clasp. So again, full review down in the description. Next up, this is another one that I've already reviewed as well. And this has got that really nice, what I called chainmail bracelet. Got a couple of different dial options. I've got the blue one. So I'm going to scroll down, show you some of the specs and pictures. Again, we've got the on the fly adjustable clasp. Really good lume again, as you'd expect from San Martin. And then when it comes to the specs, there's a quick look at them. But again, check out the full reviews if you are interested in any of these. So next up, this is one I haven't actually got in or had in for review. I didn't get around to doing it at the time. I just had too many other watches I was reviewing. So didn't get one of these in. But they've got some really cool, interesting colours with this. And the one I probably would have gone for myself was this one, I think. I just love that combination of the orange and the blue. But as I say, there's just loads of really nice ones. None of them really look bad. And again, I'd be going with the bracelet probably. You can pick up a cheap strap similar to that separately. And the price difference isn't too much. So if we're going to scroll down, show you some pictures and specs. And you can see we've got that really nice colour match date wheel and the texture on the dial. Apologies if you can hear that in the background. There's fireworks going off at the moment. And again, we've got that BGWX1 lume, so you know that's going to be good. And we've actually got different colours depending on what dial version you go for too. And here's the specs. And again, it's just nice to see some different colours on watches. Just liven things up a bit. Not your usual blacks and whites. Sometimes it gets a bit boring. You want to mix it up, especially for a summer style watch like this one. Next up, this is another one I haven't actually checked out on the channel for the same reason as the previous one, but I just thought it looked really nice. I particularly liked this green one as well, but again, a few different colours available if you do want your classic kind of black or blue, but again, I'd be going for the green, I think. I just think the green, the gold and the black just go really well together. You can see they're all smart looking pieces no matter what colour you go for. It does actually look quite good on the canvas strap as well, so if you did want to mix it up and just put on a canvas strap or something else, you know it's going to look good. And again, we've got that on the fly adjustable clasp. Do we have the specs? We've got the lume, so different colour lume depending on which dial colour you go for. So as you'd expect, NH34, and again it's that BGWX1. Now, next up I'm going to start showing you some of the more interesting watches that you might not have seen before. They don't get talked about as much, starting with this one. So I reviewed this one a while back with this really cool turbine dial. I've got the black one, but again they also do it in white, and you can see, based on that picture, it is inspired by a turbine, which is just really cool. It's a nice, interesting touch for a pilot's watch. But you could easily class this as a Garda. And again, we've got that BGWX1 and the on the fly adjustable clasp. Yeah, and with the white one, you've got that orange lume. Nice little touch. And here's the specs. So 100 meter water resistance, NH35, nothing too out of the ordinary, but it is a really cool, interesting dial. Next up, this is one I reviewed quite a while back now. So when I reviewed it, it didn't actually have the NH34. It actually had the Hangzhou high beat movement. I can't remember the number off the top of my head now. But that was one of the reasons I wanted to pick this one up. So it's a little bit disappointing now that it's got the NH34, but I guess that's what more people are after. But let me know down in the comments, would you have been interested in a high beat Chinese movement over the NH34, just to mix things up a bit? So again, there's a couple of different ones available with this. You've got that red and blue bezel version there with the black dial. You've got the white one, and then you've got this one I've got, which has got the black and then the kind of faux Tina almost. Again, full review down in the description, but I think it is just a really nice looking piece. Okay, so it looks like they might have changed the dial slightly when they changed the movement maybe. Yeah, because they definitely haven't got the faux Tina on them, so they must have changed that since I got mine, because mine is the faux Tina like this one, and they only had these two options available then, I think. I personally really liked it. I think it was quite in keeping with the vintage look it was going for. But then there's the newer ones, if you're not keen on that. And here's the specs. And again, bear in mind, if you go for the faux Tina, you'll get the C3, so the loom is affected slightly because of that faux Tina. So if you want the white one, you will get the BGWX one, which is probably going to last you longer. So next up is a watch that I don't see people talk about enough, I don't think, and that's this one. So this is a really interesting combination of materials here. We've got titanium case, but we've also got a bronze bezel. So right off the bat, I just think that's really unique. Not something I've seen before. And again, I've already reviewed this one too. So if you get a scroll down, take a look at some of the specs and the pictures. Okay, so they've updated it. That's interesting. So they have two different dial options now. So this is the one I've got with the indices and the applied logo and no minute track. But then you can also get it now with a minute track around the outside and just the San Martin text, not that hexagonal logo. So it is nice they're giving you options. But again, getting back to the pictures, you see it in a bit more detail there. And it's a really nice overall case shape, I think, that cushion style case almost. And again, as I say, that is titanium, so it's nice and light too. And it is actually a slightly textured dial on this. I'm hoping it's going to show some pictures. Well, there's the loom anyway. Okay, there we go. You can see it a bit better in there, as well as the rest of the specs as well. So the only slight possible issue you might have with this one is that lug to lug is fairly long, but if you're a slightly bigger guy, this might be what you're after. And again, I just think it's really interesting the fact that it's titanium and bronze. You've got 200 meter water resistance, got your C3 loom, and again, the link to the review down in the description if you want to check it out and see it in more detail. Next up, this is another one that doesn't get talked about enough for me. Yeah, it's slightly expensive in the moment, but I'm hoping it's going to come up in the 11/11 sale. And again, you are getting a pretty unique looking watch. Plus, you've got a choice of movements. You've got the PT5000 or the SW200. As always, jumps up quite significantly. So I'd be sticking with the PT5000, which is what I've got. And this is the one I actually have. But they have a few different variations. They also have it without the San Martin branding if you want that. So there's the specs for you. So pretty nice specs. And we've got that BGW9, so good loom. Only 100 meter water resistance, but it's not really a diver, so that's fine. You can see it's a pretty nice, interesting overall design with that bracelet and the case. We've also got that smaller clasp as well. And I just like this because it is something a bit different. Because of that though, it might not appeal to everyone. But if you're after something different and you want that San Martin high quality when it comes to the build and finishing and everything, then this might be the one for you. And you can see that detailing now on that inner section of the dial as well. Again, link in the description. See full review where I go into more detail on it. And you can see the attention to detail is always there with San Martin. And then for the final one, this is the one that everyone's talking about. I've just got it in for review. I'm going to try and do like a first impressions video maybe coming up soon. And this is San Martin taking it to a whole new level now. Those reviewers and you guys as well have been asking for a long time for San Martin to start using some different movements other than the NH35. And they've listened. And this one has now got the Miyota 9015. But it's also slimmer as well, so you can get slimmer cases. But before we get into that, I'll show you the different colours you can get. So I've got this blue one in at the moment. It's a really beautiful dial on this. Colour match date window down at the 6, perfect. And the colours are just really nice, they really pop I think. So we're going to scroll down, see it in a bit more detail. So these are the different colours you can get. And this wears really nicely. I'm actually wearing it at the moment whilst I'm doing this video. And there's that Miyota 9015 movement. And this is where it's going into a bit of detail explaining the inspiration for these dial designs. And we've actually got that really interesting case back on it now as well. I do like that they're embracing the Chinese side of the brand, not shying away from it, because this is definitely a watch that they can be proud of, and you can be proud to wear as well. And there's a close look at the case back design. The overall finishing and everything, again, is top notch with this, as you'd expect. And again, it's just the little details like that colour match date window, just the slightly different bracelet design as well. Everything has got nice polished chamfered edges too. There's no sharp edges on this whatsoever. and it just wears brilliantly. Again, on the fly adjustable clasp, as we've come to expect now with the higher end St. Martins. But again, you can see that detailing on the bracelet, all these little polished chamfer details, and there's all the specs for you there. It's pretty much the standard thing. The main difference is this movement. It's the first time St. Martin have used the Miyota 9015, and because of that, we've got that case thickness down, so it's now only 10.1mm. So between all the little different touches and details they've tweaked and improved over previous versions of watches, I can comfortably say, even before I do the review, this is the best watch St. Martin have done to date. It's peak St. Martin. So much so that I think this can easily now compete with some of the bigger brands and micro brands. And when it comes to the price, yeah, it might be expensive for a Chinese watch, but when you compare it to the micro brands and bigger brands, it's a bargain. For what you're getting, I just don't think you can beat it. And again, as I say, I'll try and get a first impressions video out of this soon, and hopefully try and get the review done before the 11/11 sale. If you want to check out all the St. Martin watches I've reviewed so far, I'll leave a link to the playlist down in the description and at the end of this video as well. And then you can see the evolution from one of their first watches I think I picked up when I reviewed that back when I started the channel to this one here, and you can see the progression has been really rapid. I've only been doing this channel for about 4 years. St. Martin have been around the same amount of time, and from that first watch to this one, the difference is night and day. I'm not saying the first one was bad, but this one is fantastic.